Hey you guys, it's Cam here, Football Frame of Mind Podcast, back with another video reaction, man. Before we get started, man, don't forget to like, subscribe, man. We have a lot of content, man. Not football, the Football Frame of Mind Podcast. But we got college football, man. We got NFL, man. Maybe we'll get into some high school later. I don't really know. Depends on what my partner wants to do, man. But definitely got some content, man. Got some draft content, man. Got all of that, dog. We got it. Everything you can want, man. We really love the game of football, and it makes it easier to talk about, man, when you truly have played the game at some capacity and different perspectives as well. So it's definitely cool to do that, man. So um, we love all of our subscribers, man. So also, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, man. Because we growing, and we need y'all to grow, and the algorithm helps us grow. So we like the algorithm, so we want the algorithm to like us too, man. Big words. So today's video is Nonstop's top 5 NFL defenses of all time. Now, as the Ravens fan of the partnership, I expect my Ravens to be on here. I also expect the Seahawks maybe to be on here as well because they had a really good defense. But I think their defense is underrated. But without further ado, let's see. Nonstop. I'm hoping y'all come through. Ravens number 1, baby.
While NFL offenses often attract more attention than defenses, the value of a great defense should not be forgotten. As the old adage goes, defense wins championships. Offenses have evolved
That is true, man. Defenses win championships, so it's important to realize that even though you can outscore people by 30 points, you gotta stop somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. Love that quote.
mightily over the years, so ranking the top defenses in league history is a tough task, but there are a few groups that separate themselves from the rest. Here are the 5 greatest defenses in NFL history. 2013 Seattle Seahawks.
Alright, so the Seahawks that year, man, obviously won the Super Bowl, man, but dude, this is one of the best defenses ever, man. And their defense is probably going to be studied for years to come, man, because they were, in my opinion, as a backwards compatible defense, man. And what I mean by backwards compatible defense is that typically defenses are built from the front to the back, right? But this defense was so abnormally good, and they built it from the back to the front, man. And it seemed like everything they did was predicated on that secondary, man. And having Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas in that secondary, both guys could lay the boom, man. So that was good. And then one underrated factor of this defense, man, was the height of Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner. People don't understand that, man. When you have cornerbacks that are over 6'3", the jump ball becomes non-existent, man. As long as you stay in phase or whatever, you got a chance to knock all the jump balls away because they can jump with just about any receiver, man. But also, Richard Sherman and Brandon Browner weren't bad tacklers either. So overall, they just made the defense that much unstoppable, man. So definitely glad they're on the list.
Formula for a great defense seems to be an elite nickname and a Super Bowl ring. Well, the 2013 Seahawks D checks off both boxes there. Referred to as the Legion of Boom, the Seahawks defense is the only recent squad to grace this list. As we all know, the NFL has become much more offensively focused, with high-powered offenses constantly lighting up scoreboards. With that being said, the Seahawks only allowed 14.4 points per game in the 2013 season. The Seahawks defense ranked first.
Put that into perspective, bro. 14 points a game all season, bro. That's wild to me, man. That means they stopping everybody, bro. You gotta like go down the field like inches, like inch your way down the field, because they not giving up nothing, man. Wild.
First in the NFL in total yards and passing yards allowed that year. They primarily relied on their secondary to make plays, and
Also, if I'm not mistaken, Brandon Browner was suspended that year. So shout out to Byron Maxwell too, cause he showed up, man. Like I said, that's how good the defense was, man. Byron Maxwell wasn't a bad corner by any means, but he was also about 6'3" as well, so he could fit in just as nice. So shout out to Byron Maxwell, man. He was good too.
they often came through, as Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Brandon Browner, and Cam Chancellor combined for 28 interceptions. While they were great at forcing turnovers, they also could lay the wood with bone-crushing hits, hence the Legion of Boom nickname. Seattle went 13-3 in the regular season before going on a postseason run that would give this defense a chance to etch their names in the history books. In Super Bowl 48, they faced the league's #1 offense, and one of the best offenses in NFL history in the Denver Broncos. Forcing 4 turnovers, the Legion of Boom held Peyton Manning's Broncos to only 8 points in a 48-3 blowout.
Massacre. Massacre, dog. That Super Bowl was so bad, dog. Like, you would think, all right, we going into the second half and make adjustments, man. Wasn't no adjustment after Percy Harvin took that punt back. None of that, man. And then what was even more sweet about that Super Bowl was the fact that a defensive player won the MVP award, man. So I can't remember his name, Malcolm Smith, I think. But that was really cool to see, man, because defensive players don't win MVPs in the Super Bowl that often. So that was pretty cool, man.
71 Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. So this is a little bit ahead of my time. No, sorry to stop, but I have to put it in context, man. I'm not just watching videos here, but put it into context, man. The 71 Vikings was a little bit before my time, but I do know Alan Page was very, very good, and I believe he won MVP of the league that year. I'm not sure, but maybe the video will help me understand. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But the Purple People Eaters, dog, this defense was good, man. Like, bro, really good. Like I said, I started studying the game of football when I got into probably middle school or high school, whatever. But this was one of the defenses that came up when I would just, type it in on Google as a kid. Crazy. And shout out to my grandpa, man, because he definitely told me about this defense, man.
The 1971 Minnesota Vikings defense set the standard for what makes a great defense for years to come. They also had arguably one of the coolest nicknames in the history of sports, as they were called the Purple People Eaters. They were led by defensive tackle Alan Page, who won NFL MVP that season and became the first defensive player in league history to be named MVP.
Let's put that in context, you guys. So, defensive players should not win the MVP, bro. It's not. It's like it's not meant for them. But for a guy back then, when offenses were starting to figure things out, it was good to see that a player was so dominant that he recognized by the league as their most valuable player, man. So it's good to know that he was the first one, man, and confirm what I thought I knew. But what's crazy is, to this day, I think we only have 2. Alan Page and Lawrence Taylor as defensive players to win league MVP. So, shout out to Alan Page out there, man. Also, did some research on Alan Page, man. As I was growing up, man, dude actually won, I want to say the Medal of Honor. Not Medal of Honor, but Medal of Freedom, man. So shout out to him, not only doing work on the field but off the field, man. So definitely cool.
Page and his fellow Purple People Eaters held opposing quarterbacks to a 40.4 quarterback rating that season, one of the lowest ever. They allowed just 9.9 points per game, 3.9 yards per play, and forced 45 turnovers. During the 71 campaign, they pitched 3 shutouts and only allowed more than 20 points on 2 occasions. In addition to Page, defensive end Carl Eller, safety Paul Krause, and defensive end Jim Marshall made the All-Pro team that year.
All right, so keep in mind, guys. All right, so these 3 guys right here are cornerstone players, man. So Carl Eller is a beast, like beast. And then you got Paul Krause, who is the NFL's all-time leading interceptor. So, if I'm not mistaken, like 81 interceptions for his career. So he was out there picking off passes, man. And Jim Marshall wasn't no slouch either. Everybody give him some slack because I think he was a guy that ran backwards. But dude was a beast, man. So you got all of this surrounding Alan Page. Yeah, bro. You got a good defense.
Marshall made the All-Pro team that year. The Purple People Eaters helped the Vikings to an 11-3 regular season record before falling to the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC divisional round. 2000 Baltimore Ravens. The 2000 Ravens were about as...
So, that's the team, man. That's the team. That's the team right there, boy. Now, I'm kind of mad they not number 1 on this list, so I got to really see who's number 1 on this list, man. But, I guess it's okay. I'm glad we on the list, but I'm definitely biased, man. We should be number 1, man. I don't know, man. But when you see the numbers this defense put up, you'll see why I said number 1, man.
Stingy as they come in terms of giving up points or yards. Led by Hall of Famer Ray Lewis and NFL Defensive Player of the Year for that season, this defense was a nightmare for opposing teams. This Baltimore defense had plenty of talent surrounding Lewis, too. Cornerbacks Chris McAllister and Dwayne Starks combined for...
Bro, Chris McAllister, man, was awesome, bro. Dwayne Starks was just as good, man. But combining them was great because you could just kind of let your front end eat, man, and because they wasn't gonna let nothing pass them for real. Chris McAllister was vastly underrated, man. Like literally, I think he was about 6'3", man. So the fact is, he could guard anybody, anywhere, going deep, man. So definitely having them back there was awesome.
10 interceptions, and Peter Bulware, Rob Burnett, and Michael McCrary combined for 24 sacks. As a team, the Ravens only allowed 10.3 points and 60.63 rushing yards per game, and forced 49 turnovers that season. These low rushing totals were not the result of teams not trying to run the ball against them, as Ravens gave up an eye-popping 2.7 yards per carry over the year. That average would be low for a single game, so doing it over a 16-game season makes it even more impressive.
2.7 yards a carry, bro. Come on, man. Stop this, man. Stop this. I'm mad at this list already, man. I'm mad. Come on, what defense is doing that, bro?
They also had 4 shutouts in the regular season. Like the best defenses do, this Ravens squad took their game to a whole new level in the playoffs. After a 12-4 regular season record, the Baltimore defense carried the team to a Super Bowl title. They allowed just 23 total points in their 4 playoff games, and 7 of those came from a kick return touchdown, so they really only allowed 16 points. In addition to surrendering points, they forced turnovers too that postseason, collecting 12 of them. On the game's biggest stage, they only gave up 7 points in a 34-7 win.
See, all right, so keep this in perspective, man. You see, this is what makes a good defense, man, which is why I don't know if you do this list 10 years, in 10 years, you probably still won't see a defense from this generation on there. You know what I'm saying? Because you see some of the hits that this defense was giving out, man. They don't play like that no more. So, you know what I'm saying? The fear factor of people going across the middle and getting laid out isn't there anymore. So it'd be hard for a defense to get on there. But hey, man, one thing about defense and football, man, when the offense when they try to make the game more for the offense, defenses always can evolve, man. So hopefully I'm wrong, but definitely the hits that you see definitely ain't happening nowadays.
Over the New York Giants in Super Bowl 35. 1976 Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right, so the Steelers, man, that steel curtain dog was out of this world, man. We talk about, like I said, a little bit ahead of my time, man. But as I said, man, when you grow up playing football, watching football, and you got a grandpa, man, that always say, well, back in my day, man, they played real, you know what I'm saying? You know how old grandpas are, man. And he definitely talked about the steel curtain a lot, man. So, it was important, man, to have them on the list, man. Specifically this team, because having Mean Joe Green in the middle, I mean, then you got Mel Blunt on the outside, man. I mean, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert. I mean, the list goes on, man. So, like, man, I'm going to let them talk about it, bro, because defense was crazy, man. Still think my Ravens was number one, but in terms of star power, you can't beat that.
Referred to as the Steel Curtain, this Pittsburgh defense was known for shutting down opposing offenses and preventing them from scoring. After giving up 120 points in the first 5 games of the season, the Steelers' defense came alive as they only allowed 28 points over the next 9 contests, including 5 shutouts and 2 games where the opponent scored 3 points. Pittsburgh went 9-0 in this stretch after a 1-4 start to the year. People around the league referred to what Pittsburgh did with their front 7 as a gimmick. Mean Joe Green would line up in a tilted stance between the center and guard rather than being head up on a guard. He would then immediately shoot the gap when the ball was snapped instead of waiting to read the individual play. By doing this, the offensive lines would have to focus on Green, and linebacker Jack Lambert would be able to rush with.
That was an interesting wrinkle to their defense, man. Because it just blew up the offense, man. Like, you got Mean Joe Green just coming right through your offensive line, not with no care, reckless abandon. And you just like, oh, man, I got to get the playoff, man. So, interesting wrinkle, man. Really nice.
Ease and meet the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage. If it was a gimmick, it was certainly a successful one. The Steeler defense allowed just 9.9 points per game, forced 46 turnovers, and had 8 defensive players named to the Pro Bowl that year. Pittsburgh went 10-4 in the regular season before falling to the Oakland Raiders in the AFC Championship game after being pretty riddled by injuries. 1985.
Yeah, man. So that was a good defense, man. That was real good defense, man. So, but they had a good defense for that stretch of Super Bowls that they won throughout the 70s and into the 80s. So, pretty good, man. But this team right here, the 85 Bears, should have been on the list. They would, in my opinion, be second to my Ravens. But, hey, whatever. We'll see. But the 85 Bears should be on this list, man, because it is one of the best defensive teams ever, bro. Ever. And even as a biased Ravens fan, this defense was absolutely nuts, bro. Nuts, man. Buddy Ryan had them boys playing great. Like, gosh, man. So good, man. Mike Singletary and boys, nasty.
5 Chicago Bears. Known as the Monsters of the Midway, this defense was exactly that, monsters. Running an aggressive 46 defense constructed by Buddy Ryan, this Bears defense constantly pressured opposing offenses. They were...
Rest in peace, Buddy Ryan, man.
A defense that prided themselves on causing havoc as they racked up 64 sacks and snagged 34 interceptions over the course of the 85 season. Ryan would just relentlessly blitz the other team and forced 54 total turnovers. Their defensive front 7 is viewed as one of the best that the NFL has ever seen, including Hall of Famer Richard Dent as he led the NFL in sacks that year with 17 of them. Dent was also first in the league in fumbles forced with 7. In an era when NFL offenses were obsessed with running the ball, the Bears only allowed 82.4 rushing yards per game and 6 total rushing touchdowns that season. The Bears...
Rest in peace, sweetness, bro. Walter Payton.
gave up just 12.4 points per game that year as they went 15-1 as a team in the regular season. The Monsters of the Midway turned up the heat even more in the playoffs as they only gave up 10 total points in 3 games. They added 16 more sacks over those 3 games to their already impressive 64 sacks from the regular season as they pitched 2 shutouts in the divisional round and NFC title game before holding the New England Patriots to just 10 points in a commanding 46-10 victory in Super Bowl 20.
Bro, that Super Bowl was so that Super Bowl was so ass, bro. Oh my god. The Patriots stood no chance, dog. Stood no chance. Couldn't do nothing. Oh man. But good Super Bowl, man, if you were a Bears fan, man. And shout out to the end because you know how the coaches get carried on the shoulders? They carried Mike Ditka, the head coach, and Buddy Ryan off the field at the same time. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right, man. Hey, so this was a good list, man. I'm definitely not disappointed. So shout out Nonstop, man. I'm definitely gonna give them a subscribe, man, and a like, cause this video is pretty good, man. Except for the Ravens not being number 1, man. So like I said, man, hope you enjoyed this video, man. And don't forget to like and subscribe, man. Also, give me some feedback, man, on some defenses that you think should be on this list that was missing, man. So, I'm Cam, signing off.